The War of Three Kings is over. Daenerys Targaryen is victorious. The Winter King Robb Stark is captured. Hugh Baratheon has bent the knee. The Iron King was humbled by the young Lord of the Tides. Harlan Greatheart, an imprisoned ally of the rebels, demands trial by combat to determine his fate. Queen Daenerys agrees, but in her madness, chooses her dragon as her champion. The small folk of King's Landing, stunned by this injustice and spurred by zealous followers of the Faith of the Seven, mob Daenerys during the trial. Before she can escape, she is struck by a rock and knocked from her dragon. She dies at the hands of the crowd. Her dragon, enraged, burns the mob and sets much of the city aflame before flying off with what remains of the queen. Chaos descends in the city. With the hand of the Queen, Lord Darren Tully in the Stormlands, it falls to Lord Castus Masterly to bring order to the city. With his Golden Company veterans, he violently puts down the rioters in what would later become known as the Golden Hours. While rule is restored to the city, Lord Masterly does not immediately declare Rhaenys, Daenerys' 2-year-old daughter, as queen. Some suspect he intends to name Lord Eddard Snowfire as king in her place. During this time in which Lord Masterly is the only true power in King's Landing, Robb Stark is brought before him. The proud Northern Lord refuses to bend a knee to any Targaryen, queen or king, and is sentenced to be executed by beheading. Lord Tully returns to King's Landing with the intention of ensuring Rhaenys is named queen, only to find himself barred from the city. A tense standoff ensues between the two powerful men, one which is only broken by the arrival of the massive Velaryon fleet in Blackwater Bay. Both lords look to the Seaspray, a hero of the war and commander of the largest fleet in the world, to support their cause. In the end, it is only through Lord Corlys' mediation that Lords Tully and Masterly meet, and together an agreement is made to call a great council to deal with the matter of succession. Lords and ladies of the realm arrive in a war-ravaged King's Landing. All those with claims to the Iron Throne put their names forward. Some are dismissed outright. Even Lord Corlys Velaryon's name is put forward, but the outcry from the Lords of the Reach is so virulent that it almost comes to blows. A contingent from the Stormlands puts forth Hugh Baratheon, despite his renouncing of all claims to the throne. Lord Fell speaks foul words of Queen Daenerys, and for that, Lord Masterly cuts him down on the floor of the throne room, to the shock of all those present. In the end, only two true claimants remain: Rhaenys Targaryen, the trueborn daughter of Daenerys and Quentyn Martell, who is supported by Dorne in the Riverlands, and Eddard Snowfire, Daenerys' heir for nearly a decade, who was raised by her in the Red Keep after his father's death, and who has the support of the Westerlands. Much like during the Dance of Dragons generations ago, two factions emerge: the Blacks, who support Rhaenys Targaryen, and the Greys, who support Eddard Snowfire. The High Septon appears to denounce both claimants, saying that the Faith will support the blood of the dragon no longer. Many disgruntled Stormlander lords agree, and the High Septon is later seen leaving the city with the new Lord Fell. Lord Corlys finds himself with a difficult position: support the trueborn daughter of his queen, a child of only 2 years, or back his nephew and brother-in-law who had bullied him relentlessly in his youth. Both Blacks and Greys sought his backing, and in the end, he made his choice. Hello Wanderers, welcome back to our Crusader Kings 3 roleplay series following Lord Corlys Velaryon, the Lord of the Tides, the Master of Ships, the Seaspray, and the hero of the Three Kings War. And as you will have seen in that intro, a question was posed: who does Lord Corlys back in the Great Council? Is he one of the Blacks or is he one of the Greys? And the answer to that, of course, is that he backed Queen Rhaenys, the Black Queen of House Targaryen. Now, I left this up to the community and you guys voted in huge numbers. I was not expecting this. Not only that, but the comments that you guys put on that post were so amazing. There was I wish I could have responded to them all, but there was far too many. But in the end, you, the viewers, taking on the role of the lords and ladies of Westeros, made a decision, and that decision was to crown Queen Rhaenys. Now, there were some great suggestions, and many of those suggestions have actually made it into the game. You will see that Lord Eddard here is the regent. This is a essentially move to bring peace to the realm. There was it was hotly debated as to whether Eddard would be better for the throne than a child of but 2 or 3 years, and some very good points were made in regards to that. Would a queen regency for so long be able to keep the realm stable? And yet many others backed the law and the letter of the law in which the true-born heir of Queen Daenerys, Queen Rhaenys, would take the throne. And so, in order to maintain that peace, Lord Eddard here has been named the regent. Now, we will take a brief look at the rest of the world in but a moment. But we are currently here in King's Landing for the funeral of Daenerys Targaryen. And so we are going to let time roll here as we see what this funeral has in store, what kind of events we're going to get from this. I have not actually done a funeral yet in this game, so I'm curious to see if we're going to get any interesting events and things here. See, we've lost a counselor, but we'll deal with that in a moment. And our wife is pregnant. Excellent news. So there is at least a moment of peace in the realm. And like I said, we will look at it deeper. But for now, everybody is focused on the funeral of Queen Daenerys. In a quiet corner of the sept, I overhear Harlan chatting with a group of mourners. Who is this? This is a member of the White Cloaks, Sir Harlan Janney. We all have fond memories of Queen Daenerys. I was just talking about the time my martial deeds were recognized by her, with the granting of authority among her knights. Tell me, have you any moments to share? Maybe he's speaking of the moment when, maybe he was given a greater role within the Kingsguard, perhaps? Hard to say. How could I forget? This is not a competition. Well, we could potentially... A diplomacy challenge. This could be a tough one. But yeah, I guess we will speak of our own memories of Daenerys here. And our memories bring tears to the eyes of those who are here. I and the other mourners take reprieve from our grief to enjoy a great bounty of food. Lady Marjorie, my mother, usually the lifeblood of any feast, now sits across from me, misty-eyed, with an untouched goblet at her side. How can we make ourselves fat and merry in times like these? Are we to satisfy our hedonistic desires while the queen has none? Join me, empty your goblets in libation. The guests seem to agree there's wisdom in Marjorie's oafish lamentation. Our mother, a bit of a drunkard now, especially now that she's been freed from house arrest anyways. That was obviously something that Corlys could have gotten done during the whole debacle after Queen Daenerys' death, so makes sense that we would be able to get her freed here. And now she's just drinking. I guess we'll join her for the toast, I suppose. Get a little legitimacy from that, which is nice. Of all the figures venerated and villainous, none have been desired more than our departed Queen Daenerys Targaryen of the Iron Throne. With her crowd of weepers and gawkers finally finding other subjects to satisfy their fascination. That's okay. Interesting. I am left with a moment of solace between myself and my queen. Allow myself a moment of grief, quiet prayer, promise to be a better lord. I think we're just gonna have a moment of quiet grief here. Hunched beside me, bereft of the pretense of propriety, the inconsolable Leandra gazes out into the nothingness before her. Not a tear falls from her eyes, not a word passes her mouth until she turns to me. The gods can be cruel indeed. Why does the wind still yet blow? Why does the sea continue its push towards the shore? Why does my body ache for food and thirst for water? The apocalypse is upon us. My acquaintance is dead. My queen is dead. The way the words of things is so funny sometimes. While there's life, there's always hope. Or quietly nod. I think we will quietly nod. Seems we are engaged in the wake. I see this is the wake. Before me, a feasting table stocked high with all manner of food and drink, as if Queen Daenerys were trying to offer a final act of magnanimity before parting. Malek has so far refused to lay a finger on this banquet, however, swilling his goblet around in idle solace. His middle-distance stare follows warily upon me, and with a quiet nod, he raises a drink high. To the Queen Daenerys of the Iron Throne of the Seven Kingdoms. Truly one of the great. Well, I wonder if, Malek here has had some dragon dreams about this. This may be why he's affected so deeply by this. Maybe he knows something that we do not. That's what I suspect. To Queen Daenerys and the Iron Throne, tell us what she really means. Yes, actually tell us about those dragon dreams. Perhaps he will share some of what he has learned here. Or what he thinks he has learned, in any case. Oh, we gain another martial perk. We'll deal with that afterwards as well. All eyes fall upon Bernard as he falls to the ground in lamentation, hands coating his reddened eyes from views. Sorrowful gasps and chokes have left his fellow mourners breathless, and many offer comfort and reverence as if it were him who was being committed to the hereafter. Who is this? Bernard Hammersmith, just some random hedge knight. All eyes must fall only upon me. It's a little bit arrogant, but I'm fine with that. We can be a little bit arrogant once in a while. We're not a specifically arrogant character, but we are allowed a moment of narcissism, I think. The sorrowful line marches on, the line to have a last moment with the queen, a last whisper, a last long goodbye, a last nothing at the last place anyone will ever see her again. Truly, it is a privilege to be here. The line brings me ever closer until at last the figure in front of me parts and there's nothing but a veil between me and her. Make a speech promising to rule in her honor or speak to her virtues. I think we'll make a speech promising to rule in her honor. We make a fool of ourselves. Yeah, you know what? I bet we got heckled by some damn Reachman lords there who spoke ill of us breaking our betrothal and such things. Ugh, those Reach lords. Now the time has come to commit Queen Daenerys to the Iron Thrones for her final rites before the journey into the hereafter. Daenerys lays wrapped in fine white fabrics atop a towering funeral pyre. It's very fitting for House Targaryen. The septa stands beside Queen Rhaenys. No, actually, I don't think it's a septa standing there. I think it is Eddard. I think it is Eddard Snowfire who holds the torch and is going to light the torch for Queen Daenerys. And I think that's a significant act of, respect from Eddard to Queen Daenerys that, I guess you could look at it both ways. Is it a sign of respect that he, understands, his position here? Or is it a sign that, he's passing Daenerys on into the afterlife and, he is he's the next step kind of thing? Hard to say. Depends on your position, whether you are one of the blacks or one of the grays, I suppose. All that's left now is to wait for Daenerys to be returned to the ashes. There we go. Funeral. Finish the funeral. So it is done. Now, we are going to take a look at the realm here and a few things that have happened in the wake of Daenerys' death. And the one that you'll probably notice right away is the most devout. Indeed, they are essentially independent. The High Septon here fled or left, didn't flee, but left King's Landing along with Lord Colton Fell and some of the other Stormlander lords, and they have refused to acknowledge the rule of the Queen on the Iron Throne here. So they are essentially independent. You'll notice that a faction or a sect, the group of the Warring Star have started to rise up. These are essentially what I think of as people who are disenfranchised with the Targaryen rule that came under Daenerys, and are essentially, these are the people who are actively, wanting to fight against Targaryen rule. So there's lots in the Stormlands. There's a little bit in the Westerlands and even in the Reach here. A little bit in the Riverlands as well. And so, yeah, there's certainly a large rift here. And this is probably going to end up becoming one of the bigger conflicts in the future. For now, we're at peace. They're essentially refusing to acknowledge Daenerys' rule. I think that the small council is going to want to deal with this, but they know they can't deal with this right away. And let's take a look at the small council. You'll see, first off, that, well, of course, we have the regent, Eddard Stark. So he would be on the small council, or Eddard Snowfire, I should say. He would be on the council. But we do have the Hand of the Queen, Lord Paramount Darren Tully. He has indeed retained his position. And there was a lot of opposition in the Great Council about having Lord Paramount Darren retain position as Hand of the Queen. Lots of people were suggesting that perhaps Corlys could be named Hand of the Queen. And it's not unprecedented that somebody of 21 years of age could be named Hand of the Queen. Tywin Lannister was named Hand of the Queen, or Hand of the King, at only 20 years of age. But I don't think it was a particularly well-received proposition, even by Lord Corlys himself. He's the master of ships. He has the biggest fleet. Not only that, but he's been tasked with keeping the Iron Islands, well to heal. He's got the whole Reach thing to deal with. He's got his hands full, let alone being the Hand of the Queen. And I think that keeping Lord Paramount Darren as the Hand of the Queen is essentially another act of peace between the Blacks and the Greys. Lord Eddard will be the regent, but that is kind of only one half of the greater powers on the council, the regent and the Hand of the Queen. And so you've got somebody from the Greys and somebody from the Blacks. And so I think that is, could lead to some conflict, but is also an attempt to try to find peace and conciliation between the two factions. Now, what about Lord Castus Masterly, I hear you asking? Well, unfortunately, in the wake of the Great Council, Castus Masterly took ill and unfortunately passed away. Indeed, he passed away from being ill. This sucks. I was really hoping that he would live, but in that little bit of time between Daenerys dying and the start of this episode, he unfortunately died of illness. So he leaves his son, Lord Cedric Masterly, on as the new Lord Paramount of the Westerlands. And this will be interesting to see if he can hold his position. He was raised as a Westerlander. He's a knight. His father held the Westerlands pretty well in heel for a long time. Could House Masterly be the new, rulers here, like for some time? Or are they going to get ousted now that Castus is dead? That's a good question. I think if Lord Cedric can hold the Westerlands for one more generation, the lineage of the Lannisters is going to start to get not forgotten, but people are going to start accepting the new norm, which would be House Masterly as the Lord's Paramount. So that's what happened there. We'll take a look here. Our mother has been made the Master of Laws, which is interesting. Did the Hand of the Queen, Lord Paramount Darren, have something to do with it? Probably. Oh, and look at our mother hates Queen Rhaenys for whatever reason. Lots of reasons, actually. Executed close relative. Oh, okay. Lots of retracted. Well, yeah, lots of Malleus's here. That's pretty unfortunate for Queen Rhaenys. Our mother is not a big fan of that, and I'm not a big fan of our mother and her lover being on the council that we're on as well. So that is unfortunate. We've got Lord Master Willis of the Brushmill Dondarrions as the Master of Coin. Lord Olimar of House Pyle here as the Master at Arms. Not a particularly skilled one. This is no Castus Masterly. And then we've got Lord Orwell as the Master of Westeros. But what is interesting is that Peter Baelish is still his regent. So I don't think that Lord Orwell is the Master of Whisperers as much as Peter Baelish is the Master of Whisperers, which is very, very fitting. Of course, we are the Master of Ships, as is the traditional position of the Lord of the Tides. And there is no court chaplain because the High Septon refuses to acknowledge Rhaenys's rule. Now, you may also be wondering what happened with the North. And in the North, House Karstark won their rebellion against the Starks and usurped them. Now, they now rule the North and they have bent the knee to Queen Rhaenys. But what happened to the Starks? That's actually fascinating. So you'll remember in that last episode, Lord Commander Darren took over for Eddard Stark here, who was the previous Lord Commander. So father and then to son. But what's crazy is, and I had nothing to do with this was the AI. For whatever reason, I guess during the peace negotiation event that comes in Game of Thrones, the AI just sent every single Stark boy or man to the wall. Vayon Stark to the wall. Cavan Stark to the wall. Gavin Stark to the wall. Harlan Stark, 8 years of age, to the wall. Arstan Stark to the wall. Only 2 male Starks didn't go to the wall. One of them was, I think it's, both of Robb Stark's sons here avoided the wall. I think they've been smuggled away. They have been smuggled to Hornwood, which is interesting. But yeah, I had nothing to do with this. The AI just decided to send every single Stark to the wall. So the wall is basically half manned by House Stark at this point. Well, I'll be curious to see if we actually get like a generational thing here going with the wall where it goes to like, when Darren dies, is it going to get passed to another Stark? Who knows? But I thought that was pretty interesting indeed. So yeah, that's the lay of the land now. We're just going to get time rolling here and play some peacetime events for a little bit here. Ooh, a derelict ship. Well, obviously we're going to investigate. And we find a trinket. That is good. As suspected, the wreckage contains no life, save for a few birds pecking away at the half-eaten corpses. We find something amidst it all. Excellent. We are going to continue down here. We are going to go for courtship here, I believe. Now that war is done, though, the question is, do we now switch to... Do we switch our focus to domain? I think we do. I think that we are going to start focusing on managing our vast realms and our holdings and our vassals. And so we are going to go for a domain focus here. And we'll probably potentially try to go on meritocracy. This could be good. We have a lot of vassals now. So vassal tax contribution could be good in that regard. We do have the... well, we don't have the possibility of increasing Crown authority back up right away. So yeah, we won't worry about that just yet. Let's see. We have a squire to train. Yes. We have a squire, and you'll see that our squire is Carl Greyjoy. Indeed, the last living male Greyjoy. And he is our squire. So obviously we were given the Lord Paramountcy of the Iron Islands, but I don't think that was ever really intended to be a permanent thing. I think the intention was that Lord Corlys would manage the Iron Islands until such a time that a loyal ruler from the Iron Islands could be put in that place. And so in order to facilitate this, and obviously the Seaspray is going to have a lot of influence over who takes over the Iron Islands, he has taken Carl Greyjoy as his squire. He's going to try to train him and raise him to be, maybe he'll still be Ironborn, but maybe we'll change his religion to Drowned God. I'm pretty sure, yeah, we are his guardian as well. So Yeah, he might become a Faith of the Seven Ironborn, which could be pretty cool. He's 12 years old, so he'll still have his Ironborn culture. You can't get rid of that in 4 years, I wouldn't say. But we do need to train him, and we're going to try to train him in chivalry. He did not show any form of chivalrous behavior. Wow, well, he's an Iron Islander. He doesn't understand that kind of thing. That's why we got to teach him. Now, before I forget, we do need to consider our money situation, and we owe some money to the Iron Bank, and I'm a little concerned about that. Our wife has already given us a gift of some money. I am not sure why our wife is wearing a hood and why she is wounded. What has she been getting up to? Was there an assassination attempt? Oh my gosh, possibly. Who knows? But yeah, our wife gave us a gift. The old town has money. We did not have money, and so our wife gave us a little bit of a loan or a gift to get us out of the horrible debt that we found ourselves in. And I think that we do potentially want to sell some of our artifacts. So I think we are going to go to the artifact market. We owe a lot of money to the Iron Bank. I'm not sure if we're going to pay them back, but yeah, I mean, we should probably try to get some money back anyways. We could sell, I think we can sell one artifact, so I'm tempted to sell the prize wine ton. That's actually a decent amount of money here, so yeah, let's sell that. Seems like one of the lesser things to lose, so it gives us it gives us a little bit of money. We're kind of back in the black, just like we backed the black in the Great Council there. The Black Queen, Rhaenys Targaryen. All right, we're back home in Driftmark, and we can finally start to focus on matters. We do have a council position open as well. No, we got to put Malik Webb as the steward. We're not going to put an Iron Islander on our council. We actually have one. Oh, apparently. Our Master at Arms? Huh. I guess this guy forced himself on the council, so he cannot be removed. You know what? Then let's try to sway him. Maybe we'll get some of these Iron Islanders on our side. We did defeat them in these battles. Maybe some of them have like a little bit of respect for us. Doesn't look like it. Looks like most of them hate us. Yeah, let's see if we can maybe earn some allies there, because we're probably going to need them. We can't be spending money right now. Like I said, I'm not even sure if we are going to pay the Iron Bank back. It would be very unwise not to, but we'll see. We are stubborn and arbitrary and cynical. So, if we end up a faceless man, blame our character traits. It wasn't me. So, some things that we're going to need to consider at some point, not anytime soon probably, is, potential betrothals for Lucerys here. I mean, alliance powers. We could, arrange the marriage with the Riverlanders, Lady Celessa of the Westerlands. Oh, crap. A walk through Driftmark reveals something deeply unpleasant. A plague has arrived in this once thriving metropolis. The infected are covered from head to toe in rashes that are hot to the touch. People are already calling this affliction famine fever, and it is now happening on my very doorstep. While numbers remain low, it is only a matter of time before it spreads. Summon the Maester? Oof, yeah, I mean, we have to, right? We have to summon the Maester. Okay, I think we should probably isolate capital? I mean, it's already here. Does that even do anything? Oh man, we're losing some of our legitimacy here, but we probably should. I mean, maybe isolate it to quarantine to keep it in, and then we enter seclusion. Maybe we have to. I mean, we got to keep our family safe. The plague is right here. We gain secluded for 5 years. Diplomacy goes down. I think we can... can we afford this? I don't know if we can afford to enter seclusion. we have to deal with the Iron Island. We can't just stay here while the Iron Islands, remains in the state of, it's got civil conflict going on. Is the whole thing with the Reach. I don't think we can remain in seclusion. We'll isolate our capital, but that's the best that we can do. We do have a son, Lord Gaiman. What are we gonna name him? Are there any interesting characters that we could name him after? Let's see. Mataris, after an ancestor, Rogar, Daffin, Donald, Luther, Lyle. You know what? Maybe our wife would get to pick to name this one. And so, what was our wife's father's name? It was Manfred. That's a vaguely Velaryon name. I'm fine with that. Famine fever, early prevention. The dim, flickering light of Hobber's infirmary illuminates the scene as the physician lays out a plan of attack. I have a number of observations regarding famine fever, chiefly the way patients are tormented by green fever like I've never seen before. The plague does not appear to be too severe, and it is my recommendation as a professional that we take a light approach to prevent the spread. After all, we do not wish to hurt the economy. Ultimately, the exact strategy for preventing the spread of the plague is mine. Well, I think we gotta go with our maester, right? He's knowledgeable. And he's a novice physician, but a herbalist. A soft approach is best. We'll agree with our maester. We will let him manage this. Success, it would seem the moderate approach has proven successful with the slow spread of disease symptoms among the commoners. Though the impact is quite minimal, it should at least grant more time to work on a more permanent solution. We gain mild epidemic prevention. Excellent. This is good. So let's take a look. Oh yeah, okay, so here it is, famine fever. Oh, it's starting to spread a little bit here. No fatalities yet. The Mormont sweats have a few. Moreno's flu. Ooh, it is. Oh, it is spreading though. Is this a... It's just a level 1 though. Oh, there's one fatality though. Some people are dying from it. Hopefully... Oh no, not my daughter, Alora. No. We did arrange a betrothal for her in between the episodes as well to Ellison Tyrell. So part of this is what I'm thinking here is that we know that the things in the Reach are just the lords in the Reach. They all just hate us. Well, not all of them. Actually, some of them are starting to come around to us. Some of us still dislike us quite a bit, though, for breaking the betrothal with the girl from House Hightower and then marrying our love from House Hightower. People were not too happy with that. But what we have done is by arranging this betrothal to the son of, or the grandson of Willis Tyrell, if we want to, we could potentially give the Lord Paramountcy, or we could give Reach to Alora, or perhaps we give it to Ellison Tyrell here. He seems like a decent kid. And so our blood will still rule in the Reach, but it will rule through our daughter. That's a possibility. I'm curious to see what you guys think of that in the comments down below. But that is a possibility for how we deal with that entire situation. Ooh, okay, now we got the green fever. Do no more than what is necessary. I have heard stories about brave soldiers dying like flies before they even set foot on the battlefield. But me, a lord, this aching, feverish nightmare is not a fate meant for me. As yet another meal forces its way up my throat, I pray for redemption, my nostrils singing with the sharp stench of bile. Do not worry, my lord. Green fever is treatable, I assure you. Do no more than what is necessary. Okay, and phew, we're feeling a little brighter, but ooh, we are looking gaunt. We're looking real gaunt. I mean, maybe no, we can't enter seclusion now. Now, like I said, we can't afford to be in seclusion. Oh, we are so gaunt. Oh, Malik Webb died of the of the green fever. Oh, man. Malek Webb, unfortunately, and yeah, so he had a daughter, Aelinor Webb, but his son had already died in infancy there. So the Webb house, there are 3 living members. Lady Rala. Oh, Lady Rala has a bastard daughter, and Aelinor Webb here. Interesting. Okay, well, we maybe will try to get like a matrilineal marriage for Aelinor. For some reason, she seems to be over here in Pentos, though. Speaking of, how's Tyrion doing? Lord Tyrion the Imp, the Master of Hunt. Okay. I wonder if Tyrion, you know what? It's possible that Tyrion might try something against Lord Cedric, Cedric Masterly here. We'll have to see how that plays out. It is possible, though. He's 55 years old. He might do something like that. It would be the good opportunity. But yeah, rest in peace, Malek Webb, with his dragon dreams. See if his daughter inherits his dragon dreams. We shall see. The Iron Banks do. I feel a slight shiver when a servant informs me that the envoys from the Iron Bank of Bravos have returned once more. I had thought to be rid of these people, but I find them yet again waiting for me in my audience chamber, stiff-necked and humorless. They are not disrespectful, but their niceties are somewhat diminished compared to their previous visit. Your debts to the Iron Bank have increased, the lead envoy says. To avoid further accrual of interest, I must advise you to pay in full at once. His voice is cold and stony, like the foreign land from whence he hails. I mean, we can't afford to pay it. We would be back in debt. We can't, we're not going to put it off further. I think that we are going to default on our debt. We'll see what terrible things come of this, but I think we're going to just basically tell the Iron Bank to piss off. This is a bad idea, but you know what? Stubborn, arbitrary, cynical, and brave. Foolishly brave in this case. Being neighborly, Aelion busily jots down my words as I dictate them. I must be careful with my choices. A neighboring ruler. We could try to get the High Septon to tell this tale of our father. Just send it as is. Surely an appeal to, I mean, I guess we can try. Okay, well, the High Septon's promoting the legend of our father okay, there's some interesting ways that could make sense. We did survive the green fever, thankfully. So things are looking rather well in that regard. We do need to replace our steward here. I think we have to. We're not putting another Ironborn. We got one on the council already. Oh, you know what? We got to put our friend, Lord Edmund. We're going to put him on the council. Of course, you put your friends on the council. It's the best place to put them. All right, well, I guess we do have some money free now. So now that we have decided just not to pay the Iron Bank, got some constructions. We are in the process of rebuilding High Tide and Spicetown as well. I'm going to save my money. I'm going to let the mayors of Spicetown continue to work on developing that, but we are going to start rebuilding High Tide if we can here, to rebuild the ancient seat of House Velaryon here. I would like your courtier to become a squire of... Who is this? Menio? Sure. Sure. Queen Rhaenys, 4 years old now. Yeah, good. That is good. Because we need another Castellan. Lord Allen of the Estermont Isles. I think he shall be quite fitting there indeed. And, oh, we're starting to sway Lord Gorold here. That's pretty interesting. Things in the north, Harry and Karstark seems to have things in hand here. I thought it was pretty cool. Like the Karstarks were winning that rebellion. They were at like 95%, but it was just a liberty war. I thought it made way more sense for it to be kind of a usurpation of the Starks, and so I think that just made a lot of sense. And so yeah, Harry and Karstark. I think it's cool to see Harry and Karstark as the Lord of the North. Will the Starks rise again? It's very possible. Oof. Carl Greyjoy. Let's take it easy with just some light horse riding because he's not looking too good. How's this disease going? I mean, it's definitely spread a bit here. Killed 61 people. Ah, man, that's pretty deadly. That's 61 named characters that have died to it already. Well, the kid can ride. I'll give him that. Oh, what's happening here? The most devout. Oh, there's a... looks like Lord Beric the Brute. Oh, wow. Looks like a few of them have decided that they don't like the path that the High Septon is taking. So there's a revolt here, a clash between the forces of the High Septon and between three powerful Stormlander lords here. That's interesting. There's all sorts of stories that could play into why this happened. I'm gonna leave it up to you guys in the comments because you guys come up with the craziest explanations for some of this stuff sometimes. So why do you think that all of the sudden, a year after they kind of leave together to reject Targaryen rule, that houses Fell, Grandison, and Dondarrion essentially revolt against their alliance here with the most devout? Interesting. Well, I think that's pretty cool. We'll see how that plays out. I wonder if they're going to win. Potentially. Worthy. Singers occupy the wooden days, filling the night with music. As I take a sip of my mead, I close my eyes and allow myself a moment of rest. And now, I'll listen, a mighty endeavor for Velaryon. That's alien singing there. The clamor of my court's ears fills the room, the sounds of cutlery banging on the table and raucous laughter. A doubtful thought haunts me. Among the admiration of the court, am I worthy? I think I am worthy. I would say we are. We have maybe a moment of doubt, but, the doubt will not last that long. A real hero, the water rises from the depths of the spring. Small bubbles break upon the surface. I look down into the blue and see my own reflection, a shadow of doubt behind my eyes. I try to push it back. Lord Corlys? I turn to see Lord Commander Darren Stark standing next to me. Please tell me of your legend. I've traveled many days and nights here. Oh, Darren Stark, has he come down to King's Landing to recruit people for the Night's Watch? That would be awkward considering what happened to his family. His son, his literal son, is in the Night's Watch with him. Isn't that crazy? I can't believe the AI did that. And the fact that it did is just so cool. I know I do a lot of things in the game to manipulate events, but sometimes the AI just can really tell an amazing story. Sometimes the AI is pretty dumb, but it's a bit of a wash in that regard. Yeah, you know what? Kindred Soul. Sure. Join me. We will speak to Lord Paramount, or Lord Commander Darren. Oh no, my son has fallen ill. Be cautious, do no more than I think it'll be fine. Just be, so far it's been okay. There we go, successful treatment. He'll be fine. The Iron Banks do. My maester brings me a letter written on crisp parchment bearing the seal of the Iron Bank of Bravos. Frowning, I break the seal and read, my consternation growing line by line. It seems the Iron Bank will no longer seek repayment from me, but will instead resort to less conventional, and I must confess, altogether less pleasant means of claiming its due. They're sponsoring a challenger to my title. War is inevitable. Queen... What? Queen Rhaenys? What? Surely no, surely not, right? That doesn't... What? What? You know, the the oh my god. Oh man. I what is going on here? The you know what? Here's my tentative explanation for this. Oh, this is so dastardly. Here's my explanation for this. we never should have we never should have pissed off the Iron Bank, but you know what? We did. We did. My explanation for this is that the Iron Bank goes to Lord Eddard, and it goes to Lord Paramount Tully, the two powers in the Iron Throne, and it turns them against us. It turns them both against us. The power of Velaryon has been growing for like a long time. You know, we're in, you know, the heir to the Reach. We marry, you know, our heir is going to inherit Old Town. Yeah, Lord of the Iron Islands. People are afraid. There's power in the hands of Velaryon, perhaps more power than the Queen itself. And now the Iron Bank comes and has turned Eddard and has turned Lord Paramount Tully against us and says we are a threat that needs to be dealt with. But there are those who are not happy with the rule of the Targaryens, and there are, and even more so, there are many people who respect Corlys as the hero of the war. Many of the Westerlands, you know, respect Corlys as the hero of the war. You can see that they're, you know, joining in again, well, as allies for us. Oh, let's look at this. Ooh, okay, well, we are outnumbered. Oh boy. Oh man. Okay. Well, this is what we're up against. You can't. How many years? How many years of peace did we get, guys? One year of peace. And then this happens. Can we win this war? Oh, I mean, we have the biggest fleet. Then you know what? And I mean, we have the fleet. Iron Islands is, yeah. I mean, we took all of their ships, is how I imagine it. I don't think there's any ships that the Ironborn have anymore. We basically stole them and added them to our fleet. We've got the Red Wine fleet here. We've got the Old Town fleet. Ooh, and the Velaryon fleet as well. But some people, the freaking Vale, neutral in every conflict. The North, neutral in this conflict too. Oh man. Crazy. This is wild. Well, you're gonna have an interesting episode in the next one, guys. Because this has been a crazy season. Anyways, I'm looking forward to the comments from this one too. Until the next one, Wanderers. Thank you for watching, I guess.